Yo, what up, bro? Doc Testosterone here, another video about porn addiction and how that's gonna affect your masculinity, testosterone, as well as other features that you care about, such as energy levels, productivity, so on and so forth. If you are a motherfucker addicted to porn or other behavioral addictions such as internet, video games, if you can't wait to wake up in the fucking morning and check your email to get that fucking dopamine release, that dopamine spike, if you can't wait to check your notifications on Facebook, if you are such a fucking retard that you care about how many likes you get on Instagram and you can't wait to refresh that fucking page to see how many new Snapchat friends you have, if any of that affects you, or if you are playing video games all day, you have some kind of addiction, even if you're addicted to substances such as cocaine, meth, heroin, alcohol, or any other drugs, this video is for you. If you are not addicted to anything, get the fuck out of here. This video is not for you. Now, I'm gonna talk about what happens in the brain of addicts, be it behavioral addicts, such as porn addicts, as well as other addicts of substances, actual substances, because all of the circuitry in terms of how the rewards are processed in the brain are identical. So you need to understand first that if you are addicted to porn, it is like being addicted to fucking heroin. Get that in your mind, get that in your brain. Porn addiction is a real thing. Now, I've already made a few videos about this topic. The most recent one was about why sex is very important for you, why you should be having sex regularly if you don't want to decrease and deplete your testosterone levels. So Axel, put that video, put it over here somewhere. Also, I made a video about how testosterone and jerking off are related to beard growth, as well as male pattern baldness or hair loss in men. If you want to get access to that video, Axel put it over here somewhere. Now, all of this stuff is in a playlist which you can get below in the description. So go into the YouTube description down below and access that playlist so you can see all of the jerk off videos, all of the porn addiction videos all at once to catch up. Now, this video, like I said, is about how the brain is being processed in porn addicts. Right now I am at Wynwood. This is an art district in Miami. As you know, Khalifa is the most popular porn star in the world. They just had an exhibit about her, a tribute to her tits, a tribute to her ass, and a tribute to all of her other important body parts. Now, I was just there. I'm gonna show you a little bit of these pictures that I took, a little bit of videos that I took of that exhibit. And now let's get into the heart of this video, what is happening in the brain. Now, if I don't cover something, at the end of the video, I'm gonna show you my Snapchat icon. Take a snap, add me on Snapchat, let me know you came from the YouTube video, this one, and I will give priority to guys who snap me questions. Right now, I'm getting about 200 snaps a day. I can't answer everything. I will do my best, I promise. Okay? Now, let's get to what is happening in the brain. Now, there are different phases, different levels of porn addiction. The first thing that happens is known as sensitization. Sensitization, when your brain becomes sensitive to porn. Now, remember, if you are 11 years old, 12 years old, if you are preteen and you are addicted to porn, then remember this, your brain development is at one of its peak levels during those years. Now, what happens in the brain? So you're born with a bunch of connections, right? These are known as synapses. This is how one neuron or brain cell communicates with another brain cell through these synapses. Okay, now the brain is very good at learning things. Okay, this is known as synaptic plasticity. The brain is plastic, it can change. Okay, now, before the age of 12, 13, there's something that happens in the brain known as the pruning process. Okay, so your brain has a buttload of connections, but during this time, pruning happens where whatever you're exposed to, whatever your brain has been exposed to recently stays, and all the other connections get destroyed. They get deteriorated, they go away, they get deleted. So if you start watching porn very early, at the age of 11, 12, then that image of sex, whatever you're encountering, okay, so be it big boobs, big ass, if you're seeing Mia Khalifa getting fucked in the ass by a camel while she's wearing a hijab and he's wearing pants, whatever porn fetish that you are being exposed to at that young age, your brain will remember that, will learn that. And when pruning happens, when all those nerve connections get destroyed, those connections will not get destroyed, because that is what you're exposed to at a young age where your brain is being developed. Now, if you started watching porn when you were 12, 11, 10, 8, like a lot of my students have, and now you are 30 or 25 or 19, you have undergone years and years of synaptic plasticity, of brain learning, training, knowing that, or your brain thinking that that is how sex happens. If you are a virgin, let's say, or if you haven't had too much sex, if you have porn-induced erectile dysfunction, PIED, where now you're not able to get it up because you are addicted to porn, all of those factors, if you want to overcome them, you need to understand the neuroscience of it first. That is what this video is about. In future videos, I will cover other things. Now, sensitization happens, like I said, when first you start watching porn, right? You're going to get a craving for porn. You're going to associate what is around you, for example, what chair you sat on, what room you were in, what computer you used, what you were wearing when you watched porn. All of those associations are in your memory. So you're going to associate all of that stuff with your dopamine spikes that happen, the dopamine release that happens in the reward centers of your brain when you are addicted to porn and when you watch porn. Now again, this addiction is very much like any other addiction, be it cocaine, meth, internet, video game, whatever. Now, what is actually happening in the brain? There are different areas. For example, the ventral tegmental area, VTA. There's another area known as the nucleus accumbens, NACC. These two are connected to each other. Now, these areas is what is known as the reward circuitry of the brain. And they operate using dopamine. Dopamine is the major chemical, the neurotransmitter that one neuron uses to communicate with another neuron. So imagine two neurons, they communicate using dopamine, right? When you are sensitized to porn, what happens is there is an increase in dopamine release. So now there's going to be more dopamine available to trigger those receptors that are accepting or taking dopamine as a ligand or just as a chemical that binds to the receptor. That's sensitization. Okay? Now, behaviorally, what's going to happen? You can't wait for your parents to leave so you can start jerking off. You can't wait for that specific time of the day to happen so you can jerk off. That anticipation, that exploration, that seeking for pleasure behavior is what causes the dopamine spike. So that's sensitization. Now, how does brain training affect brain plasticity? So when there is enough of this trigger, there's another chemical known as delta FOSB. Delta FOSB. That chemical is implicated in actual brain plasticity. That is seen in cocaine addicted patients, other substance abuse, as well as porn abuse patients. So delta FOSB accumulates in this reward circuitry, and that is what is actually causing the training to enable plasticity and the strengthening of those connections. Now, what is plasticity? When one neuron fires and triggers another neuron to fire, and that keeps happening, which will happen in your porn watching, right? So you're watching normal porn, right? Now you crave it. Now you watch it again. Now you watch it again. Now you watch it again. The more times you watch it, the more delta FOSB accumulates, the more one neuron fires and triggers the firing of the next neuron. The more that happens, the more connections happen. The more connections happen, the stronger, the strength of those connections becomes stronger. This is known as efficacy. The efficacy of those connections becomes stronger and increases. So that is the period of sensitization. Now, if you keep watching it over and over and over, then desensitization is going to happen. What's desensitization? Well, you're watching so much porn that now the receptors that are available for that porn, for that dopamine, accepting that dopamine into the neuron, they diminish, they decrease. Now you have less dopamine receptors. For you to get the same high, for you to get that same sexual pleasure, you're gonna have fetishes. You're gonna wanna see the Japanese anime character getting fucked in the ass by Hulk Hogan while he's wearing some mask of whatever porn star, of Beyonce or whatever. You're gonna get these fucking crazy ass fetishes. You're gonna wanna watch transgender porn. You're gonna wanna see a cat fuck a goat, right? You're gonna see all of this stuff. You're gonna see lesbian and bestiality. You know, I just mentioned the animal porn. You're gonna wanna see more and more because your brain is being desensitized. You want that craving, you want that pleasure to be the same. So now you will be addicted more, and desensitization is a sign of that. So if you've been watching porn for years and now you're getting these weirdo sexual fetishes, these sexual pleasures that you never got before, that's because of desensitization. Now that's the second step. Another step that's going to happen is hypofrontality. Hypofrontality is known as, it's a concept where the gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, in the frontal part of your brain, decreases. What's a gray matter? Gray matter is the actual connections, the actual neurons, the circuitry. The gray matter decreases in the prefrontal cortex of porn addicted patients as well as other behavioral addiction and substance abuse patients. So you're going to actually have a loss of gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, which, as you know, is one of, if not the most important parts of the brain. This is necessary for execution, for planning, executive functions that humans need. And this is the part of the brain that separates us from our evolutionary ancestors. So it is fucking important. So if you're addicted to porn and you can't focus, you can't plan, you can't do executive functions that your brain needs to do everyday habits, then that is a sign of being addicted to porn. So hypofrontality is another concept that is correlated with porn addiction. Now, I talked about Mia Khalifa. I talked about art. Now, why am I here at Wynwood? Now I'm about to give you some hacks that you can use to actually overcome porn addiction. Okay, now we got into a little bit of neuroscience. I'm going to cover more stuff later. Post your comments below and let me know what other scientific aspects of porn addiction you want to know about. But now let's get into how do you overcome this motherfucker. Now, I will tell you secrets about how I overcame it. And if you want to know more about my overcoming of porn addiction or specific brain training methods, which I used to stop jerking off to porn and become a normal, functioning, sexually healthy human being in today's society, then you have to sign up with one-on-one coaching. Okay, I just started this one-on-one coaching on Skype. I'm getting a lot of demand. People want to have customized plans depending on their lifestyle on how they can overcome porn addiction as well as other behavioral addiction using a neuroscientific approach to brain training. So if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, then email me. You'll see the link here, the email address here. It's coaching@doctestosterone.com. That is how you can get one-on-one coaching with me, not just about porn addiction, but other aspects of fitness, about social anxiety, and I cover a lot of other aspects, especially testosterone and how that affects everything else. Now, back to the matter of how I overcame my porn addiction. One thing that you have to realize is that when your brain is addicted to porn, it is activating a lot of areas. The connections of this circuitry, this reward system in the limbic system of the brain, that is also connected to the emotional centers of your brain. For example, the amygdala. It is also connected to the memory centers of your brain. So for example, the hippocampus. And as I said, it is connected to the prefrontal cortex. Now, one thing that I knew from my neuroscience training is that I cannot associate myself with anything that resembles porn if I want to get rid of my porn addiction. So what did I do? I started changing the environment I lived in. I started doing activities that I normally would not do so I can overcome my porn addictions with habits that are good. Okay? Now, one thing that I know for sure is that the way the brain works is that it compensates. There's compensation of sensory stimuli with other sensory stimuli. Remember, your brain is always gonna want this dopamine release. It's not necessarily bad. It's only bad when you become addicted and you are not productive anymore in your society, in your life, in your family. So the way I did it is I started studying art. A lot of people don't even know that. The fact that I am making this YouTube video, I became an artist. I started learning about video editing. I started learning about the angles, the lighting of different videos, how to talk to a camera. I started studying photography. I started actually going to museums. A lot of you motherfuckers might think that's for pussies and is gay. I used to think that too, right? Oh, fuck, going to a museum, that's so gay, right? It's so homo. The truth of this matter is that I wanted to expose my brain to activities that it is not normally exposed to. And I was not a museum guy. I was not an art guy. But I started getting that stimulation in my brain so it can slowly compensate for what I'm missing in terms of pornography and replace it with other sensory stimulation such as art. And it was hard in the beginning, man. It was fucking hard. Because look, I also thought it's for fucking faggots, right? Art and shit like that. So I started doing that. So that is the first hack. Try to have an activity that you can get addicted to or form a good habit of that compensates, that takes over those brain areas that used to be used to process porn. Now, you might not know this, but blind people, they have very good hearing and very good olfactory sense, very good smell sense. That's because the auditory centers of the brain, the olfactory centers of the brain, as well as the tactile, the touching centers of the brain, take over the visual centers of the brain. So that is a fact of neuroscience and how our brain works. It likes to compensate. So what I want you to do is compensate your porn addiction with good habits. For me, it was art. And in future videos, I will give you more hacks on how to do that. It was fucking important to me. Another one was meditation. By meditating, especially dynamic meditation, I'm gonna put Axel put a video about the dynamic meditation stuff that I have. I use dynamic meditation to open up and discharge and charge my sexual centers, my sexual energy. And that was another way that I used to overcome my porn addiction. The third hack, I'm gonna discuss 4 hacks. The third hack was strength training. Okay, Axel put the video over here somewhere about how strength training helped me build my character. That was the third way how I overcame porn addiction, by working out so hard that the stimulation that I get, the dopamine release that I get, that brain training compensates for the fucking porn addiction. And the last one, the most important one. And I want you to pay very close attention to what I'm about to say. I want you to have gratitude for your life. If you're addicted to porn, bro, try to understand that you are not doing a lot of things in the world that you can be doing. You are not creating value. You are not creating benefit to people in the world today. And you can, because you're a human being with a damn good brain. So have gratitude for what you have in your life. Have gratitude for your family, for your friends. And that is the fourth way that I overcame my porn addiction. So that is what I wanted to bring to you guys today here at Wynwood. Amazing stuff. In future videos, we're gonna bring Mia Khalifa on the channel so she can also talk about her experience with having the camel fuck her and all that. Whatever she wants to talk about, very welcome to. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you would like to be coached one-on-one to overcome porn addiction, email me at coaching@doctestosterone.com. Again, you'll see the email here on the screen right now. And if you like this video, give a thumbs up and comment below any questions that you have. I will be happy to answer them in a future video. Snapchat icon at the end of the video. If you don't have Snapchat, download it and add me, and don't be a loser, because Snapchat is the future, and that is how you can post questions to me, which I promise to answer in future videos. Also, subscribe to the channel if you want to get updates on future videos. Tell your friends about it. Share this shit, guys. People need to know about this movement that we're starting, the jerk off movement, or getting rid of the jerk off addiction. So tell your friends. Down below, you'll see the share button. Click on that. Share this on Facebook and tag me, Farhan Khawaja. That is my name. That is my real name. And add me on Facebook, and then you'll be able to share this, and we will have the world understand porn addiction better, and we will help everyone, including you, overcome porn addiction. Yeah, that's it for the video. Snapchat icon coming up soon. And if you have any questions, let me know. And to learn more about testosterone, because that is my specialty, you can just get my free ebook. Okay, so you just click right here, this corner here, you'll see my ebook, The 5 Factors Killing Your Testosterone and How to Fix Them Today. It is a free ebook that I give away, so download that right away if you're interested in increasing your testosterone, because if you're addicted to porn, more than likely your testosterone is very low, and you need to hack that and increase it right away today. Hey man, welcome to the bonus section of this video. In this section, I will answer questions that people have asked me through Snapchat. If you want to get your questions answered, then you must snap me. I'm going to answer 2 questions in this video because I thought that they were the most pertinent to everyone that is listening. Now, the first question is from BG. He asks about porn-induced erectile dysfunction, how it relates to testosterone and dopamine. And he also talks about how porn is objectifying women, my comments on that, as well as how oxytocin and adrenaline, as well as foreplay, play a role in porn addiction and also erectile dysfunction. He also asks about this thing called a supranormal stimulus. Okay, great. Awesome question. So the first thing is about dopamine and testosterone and how they relate to porn-induced erectile dysfunction. Now, in the desensitization phase that I talked about in the video that you just saw, there is a reduction in dopamine receptors. And so the dopamine that is available in that synaptic cleft is no longer being able to actually be processed because the receptors are lessened or they are depleted in those reward centers of the brain, nucleus accumbens, ventral tegmental area, as well as other areas of that limbic system. Now, how does that relate to dopamine and testosterone too? Dopamine is necessary for a sex-related erection. Okay, so when you are getting an erection to porn, or when you're having sex with your chick, your girlfriend, your wife, whatever, that is induced and triggered by dopamine release in the reward circuitry of your brain, as well as other parts of the brain. So that's dopamine sensitive, dopamine dependent. Now, it is also dependent on oxytocin, because dopamine triggers the release of oxytocin. Oxytocin travels all the way to the penile arterioles, cavernous sinusoids. These are blood vessels in your penis. And also testosterone is involved at that location. So the sex-related erection is mostly dependent on dopamine. The nightly erections, which is known as the penile nocturnal tumescence or erection, tumescence is erection in a scientific way, the scientific word for it, that is related to testosterone. So that is how they're related. Now, I want to say something about the difference between porn and real sex. Now, porn objectifies women, okay? It is telling your brain that big breasts and big asses and fetishes and all that weird shit about bestiality and transgender and handicap porn, God knows what else is there, midget porn and so on, that is objectifying women quite a bit. Okay, so if you are watching a lot of porn, you see women as objects, you may not be able to have the same level of comfort, the same level of relaxation with a real girl. So that is the reason for porn-induced erectile dysfunction. When you're with a real girl, she's not able to give you that craving, that exploratory behavior, that urge of sexual, sinful, that deviant nature that porn would. So that is why you're getting the erectile dysfunction. You just don't have enough dopamine receptors to enable that erection to happen, because you're not getting enough dopamine release. Okay, so that has to do with desensitization, which I covered in this video. The other thing I want to talk about is oxytocin. Now, oxytocin happens when you touch someone. It is a sensual hormone. When you get touched, when you get kissed, when there's foreplay that you do with a girl, oxytocin is released. That is not necessarily going to be released if you're just jerking off to your penis. So keep that in mind. Sex with a girl and sex with porn is very different from each other. The supranormal stimulus. Okay, this is awesome. When you go to Vegas and you see big breasts and you see big asses, you also see this shit in porn. That is a supranormal stimulus. It is above threshold for a normal stimulus. So normal stimulus is like the normal girl you see at the mall, at the coffee shop, your girlfriend, your wife. Supranormal is anything that is above that threshold that is normal for your brain. So the big asses, big breasts, that anal sex for 5 hours that you see in some porn videos, Mia Khalifa's ass and tits, all that stuff is very supranormal. It is not something that you see in everyday life, and that causes porn addiction, and that causes all those phases of porn addiction that we talked about in this video. Okay. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I also want to talk about this thing. He mentions a lot about foreplay and objectifying and stuff. You need to understand that art, what I talked about in I showed you some pictures and stuff. I'm going to show some here too. Art is something that you can use. So in terms of paintings, murals, to overcome porn addiction, because the stimulation you're getting, the colorful imagery, all that amazing beauty, especially of a woman's body, right? A woman has a beautiful body. It is probably the most beautiful thing in the universe. So instead of objectifying it like you do in porn, you need to appreciate it in art. And that is one step towards overcoming porn addiction. Now, don't become a faggot, okay? Still be an alpha, still be very dominating and aggressive. Don't be a faggot, but you can still adore a woman's body in its beauty and be a man. Now, the next one is by JY. Something about, I mentioned webinars and surveys in the previous video, more about it. Okay, so I have a NoFap. NoFap, I'm not going to say NoFap anymore. I'm going to say jerk off. So I have a jerk off survey that I want you to figure out. That is how I'm going to be able to customize plans for porn addiction, overcoming porn addiction, as well as answering more questions for you guys. So fill out the jerk off survey. It is in the description below. Click on that link. It'll take you to a Google form and you'll be able to fill that out. It takes about 5 minutes, very easy. And that is how I will figure out what to answer in an upcoming webinar, which will come up in the next few weeks. It'll be worldwide. So all your friends, everyone who's addicted to porn, everyone who wonders about how testosterone relates to masturbation, how it relates to sexual anxiety, things like that, you will be able to ask me live in the first ever Doc Testosterone Jerk Off webinar. And in order for you to actually get a notification on that, I already gave you the link for my free ebook. If you are not already on that email list, again, click right here. Axel put the link here. That is how you will be able to get my free ebook of the 5 factors killing your testosterone and how to fix them today, and be added to my email list so I can email you about that very first worldwide Doc Testosterone webinar, where all of us all over the world will connect and talk to each other about how to overcome porn addiction, give each other advice. It's going to be the first event of its kind ever in history. So that's that. Yeah, go fill out that survey down below in the link, and I'll really appreciate it. That's it for this video. That is the bonus section. Keep sending me your questions and I'll keep answering them. This is Doc Testosterone, and I will see your motherfucking ass next time.